Hey guys, we want to say thank you to our sponsor, Cutshield, for bringing you this episode. Make sure you check them out on the link below and use the promo code for 25% off your order. Used by all 32 NHL teams and players, Cutshield is the premier protective player clothing designed by players for players. Their innovative cut-resistant clothing has prevented serious injury to numerous players, including over 30 NHL players. Cutshield gives you the peace of mind to go out and play without worrying about injury. Use our promo code Grove City Hockey, all lowercase and no space, for an additional 25% off your order today.
Now carried it in back into goal.
That was a beautiful passing play right there, Sean.
What a save! Woo! Talk about a move.
Welcome to another exciting edition to Grove City Hockey Presents
Hockey in our neck of the woods, and you, sir, were a very talked about person towards the end.
I'm a fifth-year senior, kind of. Well, it's my sixth year of college. Incredible.
Welcome to GCH Podcast. I'm your host, Ben W. Stock, and with me is a very special guest. We've got David Nerman from Cutshield. How you doing, Dave?
I'm good. Thank you, sir. And thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It was a pleasure to meet you in Minnesota and to continue the conversation of protecting players and getting the word out there.
Yeah, no, it was my pleasure because I just got so wrapped up in our conversation, and I was just like, no, I got to get you on the pod to talk about it. You got the passion, and I love that. That's what draws me in, and that's what's going to draw everybody who watches this episode or this segment. They're going to see the intensity and the love that you have for the sport and for their well-being, because that's exactly what you're doing. Is you've created a line of products to help them be safe out there on the ice.
Absolutely.
And,
it's all about the players.
Yeah, and not at just the NHL, but like all the way down to the youth level. So that's something that you don't see too often. So it was very important for me to get you on and to talk about it. So I really appreciate you taking a moment to talk to me.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. My pleasure. Yeah. It's taken me some time to get it the way I wanted, but now we have the highest cut level wrist guard on the market. You can't go past A9. And
wow.
Yeah, so people don't understand the cut resistant scale goes from 1 to 9.
Okay.
And 9 usually would be a sock out of steel that would stand on its own. So it was, my guys are magicians because, it's like a team. It's like hockey. You can't play hockey unless you got your wingers, your centermen, right? Yeah. I'm nobody unless I have guys that know more than I do, especially when it comes to the fibers, right?
That makes sense.
Yeah, totally. And the knitting is the magic. People don't realize that I could have the best yarn in the world, but if you don't knit it properly, it's not going to be as cut resistant as the yarn should be if there's too much elastic and stuff. So these guys came up with, we're tested above an A9. A9 is about 6,000 on a scale. Ours is 7,100. And
wow.
Yeah. So I'm going to have it for the beginning of this season. I've been contacted already. So the AHL is making it mandatory for some of their teams, like the Jets. Anaheim reached out already because their development camp. So the boys are really, really getting on wrist guards, which I'm really happy about because, when we were in Minnesota and stuff, I saw lacerations.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, I've never seen so many. And it's like, someone's going to, I hate to say it, someone could die. And we've nearly lost players. That. At all levels. So I'm really proud of this, and I present it to the NHL in next month. I'm with the equipment managers and stuff, so I'll show it to them. But the other thing we came up with was an A6 skate stock.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah, and that so everything's gone, and they've been tested, but I sent them to a lab here. I just like to double check that it is what they say, and it's almost an A7, and the sock feels nice and soft. You'd never know.
Right.
Yeah, but one of the things that's interesting, Ben, because one of the things that we discovered was a lot of the injuries. A sharp skate blade, especially with the steel now, it's changed so much from previous times,
Mhm.
But I'll never forget. I was with Pittsburgh, and they brought out Crosby's skate, and it was so sharp. I mean, it was one of the sharpest skates I've ever felt. It was amazing. But you could run it across your face, and you won't get cut, right? So
Right.
over the years, what I've really discovered is that the nicks and burrs on blades pulls the yarn
Mhm.
and then causes a cut. So with the wrist guard, what we did, we actually double layered it. It's thin, but if it is compromised, because all this equipment is not cut proof, it's cut resistant. So we could test and test and test, but game situation is different. You're dealing with bodies that are
Yep.
200 pounds, at the NHL level. And
Yep.
so we doubled it just in case it's compromised, because I'm paranoid about the wrist. My stuff is saved. Like if you watch the Toronto Maple Leaf series, all the boys are wearing gray, a lot of them under the uniform on their wrist. And it's a single layer. I just had a rec player who was donkey kicked. So basically, he pushed the player, and the guy's skate came up, and it went, the toe and rest of the blade went across his wrist, and he's wearing my one layer, A4, and he had a red mark, and that was it. So I know, and thank God, because believe me, it scares the hell out of me. So we doubled it just because, and just in case, because I couldn't live with myself if I knew someone was seriously injured. Seriously, it'd be hard to continue because I take it so personally. I've been doing it for 12 years, and I've lost one player to one shift because he took a stitch because of a pressure cut. The player fell. The sock compromised like it would, which was like maybe the size of a fingernail of the pinky, but he was stepped on. So the pressure of the player split his skin.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. So that's nothing to do with my gear. And so he had a stitch, and that was it. So, yeah. So I'm excited. So it's like, I think this will be a big year because I think wrist guards are going to become mandatory. I hope at the NHL level and at lower leagues. I really do.
Yeah, because once that happens, now, is it mandatory in the lower divisions, like with youth hockey?
No, it isn't.
No?
And that's what we're pushing. Like when I say we're pushing, I would hope that they would. I think what's really great is we finally have parents stepping up and even for their young 7-year-olds getting wrist guards. I've been pushing wrist guards for 12 years ever since I started this because I just thought, I don't want to see anyone get cut, but if you get cut on the calf, you're not going to bleed out. I mean, we had in Canada. I'm based in Montreal, and I'd say 7 months ago, a 16-year-old through the artery, through the tendon, through the nerve, and the only reason he didn't die was it clotted because of his age.
Yeah.
And a lot of the barns don't have medical personnel like the NHL does. So we're seeing more parents step up, and I'm really happy about that. And I hope they make it mandatory. It takes time. It really does. People are, Ben, they're funny. We're creatures of habit. And it's what's really funny is when I meet people, they go, "Oh, what a great new idea." And it's like an actor who, has been doing this for 20 years and he gets a series and they go, oh, he's an overnight success. Well, it's taken him friggin' 20 years. I've been doing it 12 years. And finally people are paying attention, So, yeah. So it's exciting.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And then, so like, how many different products do you have on your current line now?
Well, okay. So so what I've done, let's start with the young players. So for the young players, because our skate sock fits I would say about a 9-year-old up till us, I'm older than you, but an adult.
Just by a year or two.
Right. I wish you could be my son. So what I've done for the smaller players is I've made something that I call the shin skins, which basically it's a cut level A4. and it slides over their shin guard. So it's a layer on their shin guard. It dangles into their boot, and then they put their game sock on. So they have that protection. Then I've done tubes for them, footless tubes as well, so that they could just wear their favorite socks and then put the tube over, and it sits at the bottom of their ankle, gives them the same protection. I do a youth wrist guard. I do patches. I do that so someone wants to sew them into the back of their pants, or we have, I think it's Skinner for Buffalo, who along the back of his pants, he sews in patches. I don't know, listen, obviously he got clipped or something. I don't ask. It is what it is. So I'd say we have, my God, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I would say 7 products, and now I'm adding, because the Pro Air 4 was the first sock that I had that was like totally different technology. Now I have the Pro Air 6, and I have the wrist guards now that I've upped as well. So yeah, there's about 7 or 8 products, and listen, my thing is protection. So if someone needs something, I will try and make it for them. It's like on the Leafs, there was one player that wanted his wrist guards 3.5 inches. I don't listen. Great. If that's what you want, I'll make it. Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think the boys realize that I am full service, and I'm there to really, really, really be there for the players. I'm a small company. So it's not like I have 10 executives like Bauer or whatever. I am me, and I love customer service. I love what I do. I love the protection. I'm passionate about it. I can't play anymore because of too many concussions.
Yep, so we talked about that at the Let's Play Hockey Expo.
Yeah. So this keeps me in the game, which is really important to me, because I've been doing this. I've been playing hockey since I was like 3 years old.
Right. So tell us a little bit about that, because you started out, like you said, starting real early. You grew up in Canada. They've just decided to throw you on skates at about 2.5, 3 years old.
Yeah, basically.
Flying ever since, huh?
Yeah, well, I started skating like at 3 years old. I was playing hockey up till I was 51. I was playing with 4 or 5 times a week. I was playing with guys from 18 to 35 in one league, and in another league was the Gentlemen's League. I was able to keep up with. I mean, I guess my best asset in hockey was skating, and I was a grinder. And so I was able to keep up with the boys and stuff. So I was, I've been playing hockey all my life. And as a matter of fact, I don't know if you know this, but I was an actor for 30 years. And I actually played a professional hockey player in a series. It was based, It was based out of in Quebec. It was like called the Le National Quebec or something like that. That's right. Yeah. The National. And so I did that for 2 years, and I'm proud to have a picture with the Stanley Cup.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Nationals beat the Maple Leafs for the cup.
We beat the Bruins. It was the
Bruins. Okay.
Yeah. The big bad Bruins. So it was kind of like I got to live my my hockey fantasy.
Absolutely, yeah.
That way and stuff. So it was, and I didn't. Again, after I had to stop playing. It really was an adjustment for me. But when I came up with the idea and was able to, go into the dressing rooms and see the boys and just that atmosphere, because very well, Ben, there's a certain atmosphere amongst hockey players. And it was something that I missed. And so to be able to do what I do, I'm happy to do it, but it also gives me the pleasure of still being within the game. I wish I could still play. I really do. I miss it.
I'm in the same boat you are, because I hurt my back in 2010 playing Major League roller hockey for a team out of Michigan with the Michigan Thunder. Hurt playing against the Detroit Revolution, and then I didn't take care of that back issue until 2015. So I was dealing with the ups and downs. It got so bad that I literally couldn't walk for more than 50 feet. That was like from here to the door. It was just a struggle. Finally had to hang up the skates. I tried to ref after just so I could stay in the game. But it was to the point where I really got to just stop what I've all my physical stuff, focus on recovery, and it took until I didn't come back to a hockey rink until last year.
So wait, so you're back playing?
I'm not playing. I
Okay.
got one more. I probably got like one more good game left in me if I drop a little lbs.
Yeah, but still,
But roller hockey's a little bit more forgiving on the body than ice is. So I always joke. I make this joke that if we ever get the world's longest roller hockey game going, I'll be definitely playing in that. I don't care.
That's funny. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
listen, when it's in your blood, and it unfortunately with the injuries, and especially because I've had back injuries from when I played and stuff, and they pop up every now and again.
Yeah.
And I mean, listen, we have a passion for a sport, but the toll that our bodies have taken over time. And listen, I'm like I joked with you about your age. I'm going to be 64 in July, and the arthritis has started, and that's because of injuries. So basically, let's see, I did both knees, the MCLs. I did one shoulder 3 times, one shoulder twice, 12 broken noses, 9 concussions, broken wrist, about 30 stitches. I sound like Frankenstein. And you know what? I would do it all over again.
Absolutely. That's the thing that most people don't realize is that
They don't.
we give ourselves to this game, to the sport, and because we just love the camaraderie, the competitiveness, and the ability to go out there and just beat the crap out of each other and still be friends afterwards. And like literally, once you step off that ice or that rink, you can have a beer with the guy that you were battling it out with, and everything is a-okay, as long as there was nothing dirty. That's everybody is really happy when that happens. So
it's just it's and especially if we've been doing it for so long, it taught me so much. It's like, I think that it's funny because when I came up with the idea, so how I came up with this was I was watching the Canadians, and I don't know who they were playing, and Markov got clipped by Price. Okay. So Markov, his own defenseman, got clipped by his own goalie. Markov got clipped by his own goalie, his Achilles. And right away I went, why isn't there a cut-resistant skate sock? Like, it was like just a blink. And I started to research. I love research. I knew nothing about cut-resistant fibers, nothing. So now if you want to talk about cut-resistant fibers, man, I can talk because I love the research. And also I don't want to ever misrepresent what I do or if the yarns and stuff. So I really educated myself. And so I started researching, and within 10 days, I found a company that was doing a special yarn that wasn't Kevlar. Because I kept running into Kevlar, but I also read, when I say negative, listen, Kevlar is a good product, but there's products now, of course, the technology has totally changed. So at the time, there was Kevlar, but I kept reading certain things about, degrading with lighting and washing and blah, 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 and reading on forums about, military guys, how do you wash the Kevlar vest? So I found a company that was using something other than Kevlar. And when I had samples, I went to the Montreal Canadiens, and they took all the samples. That was it. And I was in the NHL. I know. It was like the timing of everything. But what was interesting was I had so many naysayers, and that was the point I wanted to get to, that kept saying, who needs this? Why are you doing this? And I think from being a competitive athlete and also not being the best hockey player when I started, I went out and I worked hard because I had those naysayers and I had those people that doubted my ability. So when I kept hearing, oh, who needs this? This is what an idea. And also, oh, you're a barefoot skater. What are you,
Right.
Which I was.
Same here.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Yeah.
So instead of it deterring me, it was more of a driving force. But it was that competitiveness that I had gotten from playing all those years of sports. And that's the thing that, hockey, baseball, soccer, any sport, I believe, roller hockey gives you a different outlook on and attitude towards life. At least for myself, I know that I just won't give up. I don't know how not to give 150%.
Right.
I just, that's just not, I did in hockey and I
Mhm.
do with anything I do. It's kind of just been built in me because of all those years. So, yeah, I was in the NHL in 10 days. And then after that, it just kind of slowly, I say slowly, people start to think, well, why do I need this? And then guys start getting cut. And then they realize that things don't have to be hot and itchy. And that was, listen, I remember, on national TV, they'd hold up my sock and go, this Kevlar sock, and it was white. And I'm going, oh, guys, it's not Kevlar. Please stop.
Right. Yeah.
And that's so not that. And again, Kevlar is not a bad name, but it's just we're not Kevlar, and I don't
Right.
use Kevlar. And I think that's the thing that technology, like the A9 wrist guard that we've developed, doesn't have metal or glass in it. Nothing, which is, I mean, it's unheard of, really, because normally you
Right.
put a thin hair-like metal to get a high cut level, or you put in fiberglass. Ours is just yarn, and it's some kind of a recipe. I don't ask. I don't ask.
Right.
They're good at what they do. I'm good at what I do. I go, I need this. Make the
Right.
adjustments. Try and do it. If you can't, let me know. But I'll ask. Why not? Right?
Right, absolutely. So
Yeah.
now, what is like your like from start to finish? So let's say with the A9 sock that you just developed,
Yeah.
When that started, you were like, okay, hey, I like this material. I want to see if I can use it and see if we can't increase the cut resistance. How does that process kind of go about
Yeah.
from paper to actual product?
Well, okay, so I'm always thinking out of the box. And,
Hmm.
because I didn't know anything about knitting. Like I really didn't. So at the beginning, I was driving people crazy because, you can't just make a change on a machine without it
Right.
costing money. Yeah, I didn't know that. So I'm going, oh, change this, change that. And they're going, whoa, whoa, slow down. So
Right.
with the yarn we had, I knew that Ken, who I work with, I knew that they were always developing, that there's always, they were always trying to come up with new, better yarn technology that was not really developed yet. And so the A4 sock is a phenomenal sock because it's comfortable. It washes like a regular garment. And that's really, I got to tell you, that is one of the biggest issues with a lot of other cut resistant skate socks on the market. And all my gear washes like a regular garment, dries like a regular garment because you're not degrading the cut level. So I went to Ken and I told Ken, because actually I found out there was a new company and they came up with an A9 wrist guard, which blew me away because I was going, oh my God, like, how did that
You're
happen?
like,
Right, yeah.
you're like, I need that.
Well, yeah. And I'm going, I don't want to be the guy left behind. I mean, I started this 12 years ago. I want to be
Right.
the guy that comes in. Yeah. And so I haven't seen it. I don't know if it's comfortable. It's one thing to say, oh, I have this, but then when you put it on, it's
You're like,
itchy.
oh.
It fails in the wash and whatever. So I said to Ken, I said, this is what's, I need the highest cut level there is. We have the reputation of being the best. I want the highest you could do. So he went out and he started to develop. And one of the reasons why we got to the high cut level is the double layer.
Okay.
That's the key. Now, our sock alone, I mean, and again, the double layer was done because I just am so paranoid. And as much as I believe in my own product, I just know that we can't, like I said previously, we can't test everything. So with the double layer, it absolutely took it above different level. But you see, the whole thing too is the art is, it's a double layer, but it's actually, I could show you your people, but it's like, this is it. And it's not thick.
No, no,
Yeah.
it's actually like for those of the at home, this would be similar to actually. It's a lot lighter than the football playbooks that you would see,
Yes.
like quarterbacks, where it's thinner, and it's a lot more comfortable
Yep.
than
Yep.
what you saw there. What that product is,
Yeah.
and it actually blew my mind away when I saw it at the Let's Play Hockey Expo. I was just like, wow, this is like it. You can't. It's almost like a dress sock.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I'm so glad you said that because it's so funny, and I think you know this because as players, oh man, we're so finicky. I mean, we are just so weird, and we're not like the goalies who are weirder than us. But I say that out of respect to
That's true.
goalies.
Right,
But,
absolutely.
yeah, but the foot. If I didn't have a foot that the boys liked, and I look at the NHL as my guinea pigs. I mean,
Mhm.
I am more than proud to have saved 37 guys to be protecting some of the biggest names in the world. But it's the younger kids. It's the guys that aren't going to get 80% from insurance when they're cut, or they're going to never play again because they got cut. So it was, the foot, if the foot didn't feel good in the skate boot, they could not care less if it was cut resistant. They couldn't care less. So the foot is, as you said, it's as thin as a dress sock. And actually on the new sock, what we did was we reinforced the heel and the toe. We have guys, unfortunately, it happens, toenails.
Yep.
Right. So I'm trying to, So, we're trying to put everything in our favor. But basically, I mean, it's the one thing is that I can talk and talk and talk about the Pro Air 4 and Pro Air 6, but when people feel it, just like you did, they go, wait a minute, this is cut resistant? Because, what started happening was people started going up because other companies came out on the market. People are going, oh, they're hot and they're itchy. Why would I? I'm going, but we're not like that. But we got lumped in because people don't know better that there's other things.
Right. Yeah, it's no different than like if you were to, where one product is generalized, even though there's so many different markets out there. Like a backpack would be a prime example. Because you have so many different types of backpacks, and this is your premier cut guard material that I've ever seen. It's just like our Conway and Banks hockey bags, where they're one of the best bags on the market. So it's like it's hands down. But one question I do have is what washing makes it. How does it degrade the material over time?
It does. Oh yeah, ours does.
But not on yours, but like with other products that you've seen.
Well, so what happens is Kevlar. Okay, and this is just, and I believe if you go on DuPont's site. So again, This is not Kevlar is a good product. This is not a knock on any product.
No, this is just information.
It's information, and for some reason, what I've read is that I don't know what their fiber, I don't know, how they make their stuff, but that there's special washing. I mean, I think the funniest thing is I took the Bauer washing instructions to the NHL, the Bauer sock, which uses Kevlar. And I don't read washing instruction. What hockey player does? But I had when they buy something. And basically you're to turn the sock inside out. Don't use hot water, I think, and you're supposed to line dry.
Okay.
What equipment, man? You can't.
They don't have the time for that.
Right, they don't. So I don't know why Kevlar is affected, and now they might be changing things up. But basically, the washing affected the fiber and would degrade it over time, and UV lighting, and that was one of the reasons why Bauer's sock at the beginning was a yellow sock. It would be in a store, and they had a display that had half of it showing and the other half was on the other side. Well, the sock, the yellow portion that was near light, turned a puke orange.
Oof.
Like an ugly rose, gross, because the light was affecting the fiber. If you lay Kevlar into the sunlight, it'll change color. The part on the floor will stay yellow because it's not exposed. Oh. So Bauer went and changed the sock to black. Okay. Black Kevlar. So that no one could see this happening. So I can't tell you why, but I know that the Kevlar, the para-aramids, they're called as well, which is a substitute for Kevlar, they have a track record of degrading with wash over time. Now, how long and what happens? But I truly believe, and this is just my own theory, that the cuts that we've seen through cut-resistant skate socks that have been major, I believe is due to washing. And again, this is my opinion. I don't know, but I'm just thinking, I'm trying to figure out why a sock would cause, like, when I saw I've seen like Kevlar socks and I've seen injuries cut right through. And I just think that maybe over time. Again, it's just a theory, but it's one that I believe might be right. But so we've developed something that really, and more importantly than the cut resistant, is the fact that it washes like a regular garment, and that's what I'm really, really proud of, because I talked to so the Regina Pats of the I don't know if you know. Well, Connor Bedard was just.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I sent some socks off to them, and he told me, I just got a call from the equipment manager because he's ordering a whole bunch for the boys. Loved them, and he gave them to two of his goalies because I only sent two pair, and one of the goalies is like finicky, like forget it, just picky. Love the sock, but what Gord told me was, so they basically wore it from January to April. There would be sometimes they were washed twice a day.
Wow.
And if not, yeah. And he said, not a change.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm it's important, but it's funny because you asked about the how it goes from drawing board to actually fruition and getting it out there. And it's like, I think that one of the things is, because there's so much technology happening that we don't know about, just like, medical miracles that are coming down the road that eventually we'll hear about. It's like Ken is my guy his family's been doing this for years, and now it's passed on to him. But with his knowledge and my being able to tell him, he'll either say yes or no. He's not satisfied only being at an A6 sock, which is high. It's the highest cut level you could have. And it might even test. He says it's just under an A7, but we can't say it's an A7 because the test shows it's just under, but he's not satisfied. Neither am I. We want to keep continuing. So it goes from my ideas, my drawings, and to him finding the fiber and then getting the people to knit it properly, and then us testing, and hopefully it's comfort and passing it out for guys to test, and listen, we seem to be, I finally think we're hitting our stride, and I say that because of who I'm working with now, and also the technology that's coming, and I think that this year is going to be probably the most important year for us, and I think for a lot of companies, but for wrist guards and stuff. And I just hope, one of the things that I've seen, Ben, and it just in my research, and it drives me nuts, is I go on hockey forums, and I like reading and seeing what the boys, and I put out a question, and I wouldn't tell people who I was. Eventually I did. But one of the things that kept popping up was price, the cost. Yeah. Oh, I got a two pair of cut resistant skate socks for $25. And I'm thinking, oh, wow. Yeah. But because people don't, if you take a butter knife and there's no standard. So if you take a butter knife, it's cut resistant, right? But if, so guys have socks that are a cut level A2. Well, A2 is as cut resistant as a pair of jeans. Okay. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So people don't realize that even though they're getting a great price on something, that what they're buying is not, it might not protect them. We're a Ferrari. Lamborghini. But we're not priced that way. So, I don't know if you knew, but my sock online is like $39.99. And I've had guys wear these things. I had a guy that wore them for 4 years. Wow. I swear to God. Yeah.
And then imagine washing it twice a day and all that stuff. So
yep.
You can't beat that.
No, you can't. And actually it's funny because I know that people will pay $400 for a stick, which I'm sorry. I use Paul Coffey's, the old Sherwood, I think.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
Yeah. The wood. So a $400 stick to me, I couldn't do it. $1,200 pair of skates with no blades. I was good enough to have the best of the best, but I just don't see it. So when I see socks on, cut resistant skate socks in stores for $50, $60, it's a niche product. People don't think about this stuff till they're cut. The way I talk about my sock is basically, it's an unbelievable skate sock. Forget that it's cut resistant. It's a great skate sock in your boot. And by the way, it's cut resistant.
Yep.
So
Yeah, because like I said, it reminds me of a dress sock, super light. It's definitely doesn't hold the moisture. It's got some moisture wicking product in there,
yeah,
and it was really cool to put it on. And I just was really surprised at how light and thin it was,
yeah.
because that was something that just like, okay, if I'm gonna wear this, it's got to be, just like you said, it's got to fit like a glove, and it fits, perfectly on the foot.
That's great. And it's funny about the wrist guards because I tell you, because of, and it goes back to what we were talking about, how finicky and picky we are, and superstitious and everything. And guys about wrist guards, oh, they're hot and they impede my shot. They'd find any reason in the world. So now, I mean, Marner broke the 23-point scoring streak in my wrist guard. So I have a picture of him in wrist guards. I go, really? You think they're hot and they'll, impede your shot? And I said, I guess this guy doesn't know, right? Like
Right.
Marner doesn't know, and Tavares and all the other guys,
Well, and my comeback would be, I guess you haven't tried my product yet, because that would be the furthest argument ever. It's like when I hear people that do that, it's like the toddler who just won't go to bed. He's always trying to do whatever they can to get out of it. I need more juice. I need more water. And it's like, well, it needs to be lighter. It needs to be thinner. It's too hot. And it's all this. And it's like, well, you clearly haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, well, and what's crazy is the LA Kings came to me. I'm trying to remember how many years ago. I think it was about 9 years ago. Because Reebok at the time had the contract for the uniforms, and they kept saying, oh yeah, we're going to get cut resistant material in the back of the game socks. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. They never did it. Like, they were just slow. So Granger came to me and said, can you develop a liner for the game socks? So we developed this thin, like a t-shirt liner, cut level 4. Okay. At the time, the cut levels were different. So this was a 4. Okay. And, some guys were like, oh, it's too heavy. It weighed an ounce. Oh no, it's too heavy. I don't want to wear it. It's too heavy. Yeah. So it's so funny, because then what they do is they just give them the game sock, and they wouldn't say anything. A guy would put it on, and he would play and have not an issue. But that was the guy that said, "Oh, it's too." Too hot. Too hot, too heavy. Yeah, exactly. And now every game sock has cut resistant material in the back. I don't know if people know that. Yeah.
No, that was going to be a question I was going to ask.
Yeah.
We're close to running out of time here.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I was wondering if that was a product that you guys had started working on as well. Was the game socks?
Well, what happened was I was approached by the Boston Bruins, which actually, when I was growing up in Montreal, they were my team. I was barefoot skater because of Bobby Orr. Derek Sanderson was like a movie star with the long hair and stuff. And Boston called me and said, look, we want game liners put in the game socks. I drove to Ottawa. I picked up their game bag, the Boston Bruins game bag, and I had all their socks. And so I did 8 teams, and I was doing game socks and practice socks. And then Reebok came to me and said, we have the contract. Thank you. Goodbye. So I went ahead, and so I tested one of the game socks that they started to do, and we couldn't even get a cut test because it went right through.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So now the NHL, all the game socks have a liner.
Okay.
I'm not going to say, all I know is they say wear cut resistant skate socks under it, because I know that the product they're using, I've offered, and the NHL, it's great because they respect what I do, and they've said they should talk to David, about material. No one has, but I know that what they have, they could do a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but it's hopefully with the new company coming out to do the jerseys, Fanatics, hopefully they'll up the game as well in the back of the socks. I hope they'll come talk to us. If not, I just want guys to be protected. If it's in my gear or someone else's, just what I tell people is just do your research. Just because someone says it's an A3 or whatever, A4, get information. I send the cut test and the clearance letter from the NHL with every sock I ship.
That's awesome.
Well, listen, there's guys, and I know we're running out of time, but the testing in North America is called ASTM. In Europe, they do EN 388, and it will come out higher in Europe than it would here. So basically, you get the test in Europe, and it'll show maybe a 3. That means
Okay.
that it's only a 2 here.
Okay.
But it looks better on packaging.
Right.
So they'll use it here. So it's a little, kind of sideways of making something better than it's not,
Right.
But yeah, no, we don't bull crap. It's too important. And we've saved
Right.
37 guys. So
And that number is only going to keep going up each year, because there's no way to avoid getting cut. There's gonna be an incident every year where something like that, and hopefully they're wearing Cutshield to prevent those cuts from happening.
At least reduce the risk. That's how they're designed. I mean, that's the one thing. It's designed to, if it's compromised, to not shred or rip. It's like a ping, and it stops, and that's it. So it's been a journey. It will continue, and I appreciate yourself and people that are interested in this stuff and getting the word out, because as much as NHL is great, as we've talked about, it's you and me we have to protect. We have to get up in the morning.
Yep. Every day. So
yeah, unless you're signed for 10 million.
Right. We got less than a minute. So with that, I'm Ben W. Stock. This is my guest, David Nerman. Thanks for taking the time, and I will see you on the flip side, sir.
Hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Ben.
Anytime.